How's it going, everyone? Happy, what is this, Wednesday? I'm wearing my quality control jacket, but it's not a quality control session. I don't even have Kyle here. He doesn't respond to my text messages, calls anymore. I don't know what's going on. Kyle, call me back. I'm just kidding. I don't have Kyle Shanahan's phone number. I'll have a quality control meeting later in the week. I just want to go over the news. I don't really want to talk directly to Kyle right now. I don't have anything to say to Kyle. Kyle knows what he did wrong. Kyle needs to think about it. But let's just talk about the news. The Niners just signed K'Waun Williams. I really had free agency all wrong. I thought the Niners were going to have to make some tough decisions, prioritize which people they were going to bring back, which people they were going to let go. I thought Robert Saleh would be competing with them and taking certainly defensive players with him to New York. I was all wrong. The Niners brought back everyone they wanted. And it seemed like the only guys that the Jets got were the people the Niners didn't want, like their offensive line coach or their running back, Tevin Coleman. K'Waun Williams, no, not going to the Jets, coming back to the Niners. He's one of their better players on defense. He's probably the main playmaker in their secondary. Jimmy Ward's excellent. Jaquiski Tartt's very good when healthy. But their value is their versatility. They can cover. They can both play each other's position. You can put them in different spots, but neither one really is a playmaker. They don't force fumbles that often. They don't intercept passes that often. Maybe it's the way they're used. Whatever the case, K'Waun Williams is the one who forces fumbles, intercepts passes. He's the guy that offenses have to account for. Where is that little 5'9" nickelback? Because if you don't see him, he might be the guy blitzing, knifing in, and ruining your play. So I get why the Niners brought him back. Here's the thing. He's going to be 30. He missed 8 games last year. He's never played a full 16-game season. The schedule is now going to be expanded to 17 games, and he's only signed for 1 year. So it's like it's a Band-Aid. It's a 1-year deal. He may not even play the whole season, but why would you not bring him back on a 1-year deal that I'm imagining is pretty cheap? Probably near the veteran minimum with some incentives. It seems like that's what all these older veterans are getting. And from K'Waun Williams' perspective, is it worth it to him to maybe take a comparable deal somewhere else, maybe get a few $100,000 more, maybe $1 million more? Is it worth it to him to take that and uproot his life and go to another team for a 1-year deal, a team that's not invested in him, that he doesn't know as well, that may not have as good of a defense, that he may not necessarily be locked in as a starter? Maybe if you're already been on the Niners for 4 years, you've already been living out here, you don't want to move, you don't want to hire, call the truck, the Beacons man. You just, you know what, I'll stay here 1 more year. It seems like the Niners benefited from that a lot of these veterans weren't getting great comparable deals across the league, and they were like, you know what, we'll just stay on the Niners 1 more year, play on a good team, maybe go to the playoffs, and then try free agency next year. So surprisingly good move. I didn't think the Niners can bring back K'Waun Williams. I thought the Jets would want him. But the fact that, they made an offer, but they didn't blow him out of the water. It makes me feel like I think we had Robert Saleh wrong this whole time. I think I know Robert Saleh very well, but he comes across as a very it's not me, it's all the players. I'm not the star, it's the play. K'Waun's a star. Tartt's the star. Yeah, well, he didn't really go out of his way to bring back any of those guys, did he? To New York. I think maybe deep down, Saleh feels like, you know what, I'm the star. I don't need K'Waun Williams. He's 30. We're not in win now mode. I'm not entering year 5 on the Jets without, anything to show for it. I can build the right way. Maybe that's what Robert Saleh's thinking. You know what, Kyle, good luck. I know you want to keep that defense together for DeMeco Ryans, who has never been a coordinator before. I don't need to recreate what I did on the Niners. I can build something new. I got a 3-year plan. I got a mandate to build what I want to build. K'Waun, stay in San Francisco. Jaquiski, stay in San Francisco. Jason Verrett, stay in San Francisco. I'm building for the future. Niners, you guys are in win now mode, so keep them. I think that's interesting. From Saleh's perspective, I don't want to compete with the Niners. We're in different parts of our building process. The Niners want to win now. I'm trying to go brick by brick. I'm not trying to compete with the Niners or tear apart. I'm not trying to step on their funk. Take it. I'll build for the future. So good for the Niners. They ended up having no competition for really key players on their team. They also re-signed Jaquiski Tartt. this is a guy who I thought would get, before the pandemic hit, I thought he was going to get $6, $7, $8 million a year. Last year, when I was saying the Niners should trade for Jamal Adams, I was saying, well, Jaquiski Tartt's going to be expensive too. He's already making $6 million a year. He's a good player. He's going to get a raise because the cap goes up and his rate is going to go up. Well, that didn't happen. He got hurt. His value went down. His value was actually lower than Jason Verrett's, which is amazing, considering Jason Verrett has his own injury issues. But so they get Jaquiski Tartt. He's on a one-year deal. It's really cheap. The thing is, I believe the Niners could have traded Tartt at the deadline. Remember, the Niners weren't really sure. Were they good? Were they not? They won a couple of games before the deadline, and they were trying to stay in the race, so they didn't just sell off Tartt. They kept him. I believe they could have traded him to like Cleveland or Baltimore for a third-round pick, and they chose not to. And then a couple of weeks after the trade deadline, they were pretty much eliminated, and Tartt got hurt, and they missed their opportunity to trade him for a third-round pick. So at least they got him back and didn't lose him for nothing. I don't think they'll ever be able to trade him for that again, but at least they have, basically, they want to run it back and try to make a run for the Super Bowl, and they want to have as much of their Super Bowl losing team together as possible, and they do have that. I mean, they have most everyone except Richard Sherman, Quan Alexander, Joe Staley, Tevin Coleman, DeForest Buckner, most everyone's back. And that includes Jaquiski Tartt. Just like K'Wan Williams, do you really expect Tartt to play more than 8 games in a year? Maybe not. But at this price tag, that's okay. Giving him 1 year, maybe $1.5 million. If he plays 8 games, well, then he was cheaper than what you paid him for 8 games last year. They're giving him an 8-game contract. It's like, hey, man, we don't really expect more than about a half a season from you. So here's a half a season's contract. And we're signing Tavon Wilson, who could go if you can't go, because we don't really expect you to be able to stay healthy. I mean, and then we have Tavarius Moore as well, and Marcel Harris. So it's like, great, you can come back, but the expectations are way down here, Jaquiski. We like you when you're here. We don't expect you to be here very much, but come on back, especially since, it seemed like the Niners didn't really expect him to come back. It's like they didn't offer him much. They signed Tavon Wilson for a veteran minimum deal. It's like, hey, Jaquiski, please go get a better deal. You ever have an employer be like, I really want you to get a new deal. I want you to go out. I'll give you a recommendation. Come on, man. There's no growth opportunity for you here, but I love you. And so you call around and get a new job, and it's like, okay, I can tell you don't like me. Not that I've ever had this happen to me personally. Not that I haven't had it happen to me personally, but you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, come on, go get a new job. I'll give you a recommendation. That's what it seemed like the Niners were doing with Tartt. Like, oh yeah, go to the Jets. Call up Robert and be like, hey, we like him when he plays. But no one wanted him. So the Niners were like, all right, well, we didn't think you'd even be interested in a 1 year, 1 point something deal. But hey, if you want it, come on back. And Tartt's like, yeah, great. So that worked out. Another player the Niners didn't probably expect to have next year, their mission is to run it back and recreate what they had 2 years ago, because anyway, and this allows them to do it. They actually probably, if that was their goal, to bring back as many of their own free agents as possible, they probably did better than they expected at their goal. So this is a positive development. Good for the 49ers and good for Jaquiski Tartt for at least, where was he going to go? He might have gone to some worse team where he'd have to compete for a starting job. At least he gets to stay a starter on a good defense. That's good for him. The Niners did lose someone, though. They lost Kerry Hyder, who was a very good player for them last year. He had 8.5 sacks, led the team in sacks, was one of their hungrier players on the team. I felt like the 2020 49ers were not hungry. The 2019 Niners were hungry. They were the hardest working, hardest playing, most enthusiastic team in the league all year. A lot of guys who had stuff to prove and money to make. And then the next year, a lot of guys had nothing to prove, had gotten big signing bonuses, and for whatever reason, they seemed like a totally different team. Kerry Hyder was not one of those guys. He was hungry. He had signed like a 1 year something deal, nothing, to be a backup, 29 years old. If it didn't happen for him last year, his career was probably over. And, I hadn't even heard of him when the Niners signed him. The Niners signed Kerry Hyder. I'm like, oh, that's a guy who's not going to make the team. I've never heard of him. Well, he did make the team. And he started 14 games because Nick Bosa got hurt in week 2. Hyder started 14 games, ended up with 8.5 sacks, and got himself a 3-year, $17.5 million deal with Seattle. I'm sure that guy never expected to get a deal like that. And it's amazing that a soon-to-be 30-year-old defensive end who has 18.5 career sacks, 8.5 of which came last year, could get such a deal. So it's interesting. You look at the Seahawks, they've had pass rush issues for years. They see Kerry Hyder as an upgrade for them. He is. And they see him as, if you take him, you weaken the 49ers, which is good too. So you improve, the Niners get worse. Good move. It's always smart to poach from division rivals. So that's a good move for the Seattle Seahawks. And losing Hyder is significant for the 49ers, or it would have been had they not replaced him, which they did. They signed Samson Ebukam, who is 4 years younger than Kerry Hyder and better than Kerry Hyder. Kerry Hyder, they're similar. Kerry Hyder's bigger, maybe a little bit better against the run because he's got about 20 pounds on him. But as pass rushers, they both win with their effort. Neither one is particularly sophisticated with their moves. You wouldn't call Kerry Hyder or Samson Ebukam a technician, but Ebukam, they're both strong. They both play through the whistle. They both don't quit. They're similar. Difference is Ebukam does so much more. He's faster. He can cover. He can cover man-to-man on tight ends. Kerry Hyder can't do that. He can spy quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, such as Russell Wilson, the guy in Arizona who I'm blanking on his name, Kyler Murray. He can do that. Kerry Hyder can't do that. So the Niners lost Kerry Hyder. It's another guy who's kind of old. Would you have wanted the Niners to give 30-year-old Kerry Hyder a 3-year deal or 26-year-old Samson Ebukam a 2-year deal? Yeah, I'll take Ebukam. So they lost Kerry Hyder. Good luck, Kerry. Have the best, have a good time in Seattle. But I don't think the Niners are really worried about losing him because they upgraded at the spot. And they have other defensive linemen too, who I'm going to get to. But this is, you said the Niners wanted to lose it, run it back. They brought back a lot of their players. This is a significant loss, but they addressed it. They replaced them, and they upgraded. So this is all part of a very positive theme for the 49ers free agency so far. A couple questions, then I'll get back to my spiel. Daryl Hicks says, what's the chances of the Niners looking at Aldon Smith or Jadeveon Clowney? I'm thinking kind of low. The Niners just signed Ebukam, and they signed another defensive end, Jordan Willis, who I'm going to talk about in a minute. It doesn't seem like the Niners want to bring in big named backups. It seems like they want to have no-name backups who Chris Kosar can turn into names. So I would say probably not going to happen, especially after them signing Jordan Willis. But we'll see. I would like them to sign one of those two. Why not? I think Shanahan was waiting for Watson, plan B, C, and D. Mac Jones or Kaepernick, real possibilities, better than Jimmy G, Darnold, or Flacco. We'll talk about that in a minute. I do think they were waiting on Watson. I think they might still be waiting on Watson. What do the Niners know? Do they have inside information? Could be true, could not be true. So maybe they still are interested. I think they should probably move on and get a new plan, but that doesn't mean they will. Me and the Niners agree on nothing. So it's possible that you're right, Pat. All right, let's move on. Last thing that's going on in free agency yesterday, the Niners re-signed Jordan Willis. This guy's interesting. He was a 3rd-round pick in 2017 of the Bengals because he killed it at the combine. Kind of like Solomon Thomas. Really good combine performance, overshadowed a pretty mediocre college career. So he's a 3rd-round pick, goes to the Bengals, flops. Two sacks, 2 years, worse than Solomon Thomas. Gets waived. Jets pick him up, does nothing. They trade him to the Niners. All of a sudden, he's pretty good. Played about 180-something snaps, still had 2.5 sacks. That made him more productive as a pass rusher than Eric Armstead. Probably, sacks per snap, pressures per snap. He probably was up there with anyone on the team. Probably was up there with Kerry Hyder. I'm not going to do the math right now, but the dude played really well. All of a sudden, he showed the promise, the upside that I'm sure the Bengals thought they saw when they drafted him in the 3rd round. All of a sudden, his draft pedigree showed itself. Why? Well, he is a good athlete, but this Chris Kosar that the Niners have is terrific. And what I've learned about Kosar, it's like he's really good with these underperforming high I mean, he got Jordan Willis to play well. He got Deion Jordan to play well, who was one of the bigger first top 10 busts of the last 10 years. The one guy he couldn't get to play well was Solomon Thomas, which I think says more about Solomon Thomas than Chris Kosar. I think that just shows you how hopeless Solomon Thomas is. But everyone else has a big uptick in performance under Chris Kosar, Jordan Willis in particular. So where does he figure in? Well, we don't really know what to expect from D Ford next year. In fact, I think we all kind of know what to expect from D Ford. I don't think we're expecting much. I don't think the Niners are either. I'm not certain he'll ever play again. I kind of get the feeling he'll try and he'll maybe practice for a week and then he'll be gone. And what happened to D Ford? Oh, he tweaked something. It's nothing. It's just a little setback. And then he won't be on the field the next week. And you'll be like, hey, Kyle, what happened with D Ford? Oh, it's nothing. He's fine. But there's no timetable for his return. What? He's fine and there's no timetable. And then 2 months pass and you're like, hey, Kyle, well, you haven't talked to you about D Ford in a while. Is he coming back? And oh, no, he's really, really improving, making great strides. Of course, there's no timetable for his return. But so anyway, that's the expectation for D. And then the other guy, Nick Bosa, what is the expectation for him? We expect him to play next year, but do we expect him to play 800 snaps coming off a torn ACL? That was more than a torn ACL. He tore other things in his knee as well. It was a significant injury. Do we expect that? Do we expect him to play at the same level that he played as a rookie coming off that torn ACL? Or would it be more prudent to not even ask him to do that, to put him on a pitch count, a snap count, and rotate him in with someone else so you don't overwork him his first year back from a torn ACL? I think that would probably be the prudent way. If you go back and look at his career at Ohio State, he was coming off a torn ACL that he suffered in high school his senior year. He went to Ohio State. They worked him in real slow. He was never a full-time player at Ohio State. He would basically rotate in, one drive on, one drive off the field. That's how they were always very conservative and cautious with Nick Bosa in college. Now, that was when he was an amateur and wasn't being paid millions of dollars. But still, are the Niners going to be like, hey, Nick, we paid you $10 million. We need you to play. Or are they going to say, Nick, you're the future of our franchise. We don't want to overdo it. So it's possible Bosa plays maybe 500 snaps next year, and you're judicious about when they are. So you need someone else who can play. Jordan Willis showed that he can do it. He's a good player. He's big. He's explosive. He's strong. He seemed to respond to Chris Kosar's teachings and coaching. So this is it's a decent signing. It's not like anyone was competing with the Niners for Jordan Willis. So let's not get crazy. But I do like all the players the Niners have re-signed, and I got to say I'm more enthusiastic about their free agency than I thought I'd be. I thought it was going to be like a C, or they were going to come out of free agency significantly worse than they went into it. But basically, they held serve. I mean, if you like this team, you're looking at this team and saying this team's a hell of a team. I put out this roster is a hell of a roster. I put out the words they're escaping me. I put out a poll yesterday on Twitter saying which team was better, 2019 49ers, the one that went to the Super Bowl 13-3, or the current one. It was split 50-50. There's a lot of optimism going around on this team here. And I can see it. I mean, similar team than it was in 2019. It's 2 years older. Maybe it's 2 years more developed. However you want to look at it. But there's a lot of optimism here. I'm going to discuss that in a minute. Is it possible the Niners and Warner contract deal gets done like Kittle during the season, or does it get done after Jimmy G restructures? Well, they just created all this cap space with D Ford restructuring. It's possible. Remember, the Kittle extension happened right before training camp. They took it right to the deadline because the word was, well, Kittle's not going to play. Kittle's not going to step on a practice field without a new contract. The same could apply for Fred Warner. So maybe they drag it out. They drag it out that long because it is a negotiation. Hold on, a couple more questions. Did CJ really go to the Jaguars? Ugh. Another reason for Matt Ryan, Alex Mack is under center. They know the offense. Ryan is a statue, but at least he's a good one. Plus a better run game. I'm going to talk about Matt Ryan in a minute. You jumped inside my head on that one. You predicted the future. Hold on. Is there anything else I wanted to do? Did I get Mont wrong? Oh, it's Mond. Mond. M-O-N-D. So yeah. Is Beathard really on the Jags? Tell me that. Tell me he's not. God, the Jags, what are they doing? Okay, so seriously? Okay, well then hold on. Let me talk about that real quick. Give me a second. Jaguars signed CJ Beathard. Okay, hold on. Let me just go on Twitter real quick and make sure you guys aren't trolling me because I don't trust you at all. Beathard. Not even for a second do I trust you. Oh my God, you guys are telling the truth. Okay, we got to talk about CJ Beathard. Jacksonville is expected to sign CJ Beathard. This is just shocking to me. I don't understand why CJ Beathard got drafted. I don't understand how he lasted on a roster for 4 years, and I don't understand how he's going to get a second contract. I just never saw it. What he put on tape at Iowa was so mediocre. He never could have played at Ohio State, LSU, Alabama, anywhere good. He went to Iowa and handed off and was okay. And then he got drafted in the 3rd round because his grandfather is Bobby Beathard and is a Hall of Famer. And I'm sure a lot of people owe him favors in the NFL. Like everyone. Probably everyone owes Bobby Beathard. Otherwise, I can't see it. It's not for Beathard's athleticism. I mean, CJ Beathard makes Mac Jones look like Colin Kaepernick when Kaepernick was 24. CJ Beathard is the least athletic quarterback I've ever seen. He looks like he's never lifted a weight in his life and has no interest to. I mean, I have a more defined chest than CJ Beathard, and I don't lift weights either. Not since the pandemic hit. I used to get swole, though. You could tell. But no, CJ, he doesn't lift or doesn't look like it. What he does, or until I call him out, was play ping pong every day in the locker room. This dude was the best ping pong player I'd ever seen in a Niners. I mean, the hand-eye coordination was uncanny. And I can say, okay, well, you really are a good athlete. You don't practice the things you're supposed to practice. You're not studying your playbook. I mean, look at Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins is sitting in his locker every single day, head down, studying something. You're over here working on, getting top spin on your backhand. And boy, he could really do it. Him and Trent Taylor would have these epic games of ping pong. But I was thinking, CJ, you really shouldn't be on this team or in this league, and you should be blessed, thankful that somehow Bobby Beathard pulled some strings to get you here. You should do something about it. You should definitely be outworking Nick Mullins. Anyway, he didn't. He got passed up by Nick Mullins. He had to be 3rd string for years, and then he came in at the end last year and played okay, and now he gets another job. To me, this is Trent Baalke. He's the GM down in Jacksonville, having no clue how to scout quarterbacks. I mean, look at the quarterbacks he drafted. Wow. He has no idea. He had that one guy, Jeff Driscoll, BJ Daniels, some bad ones. So he's like, all right, I don't know how to scout quarterbacks. Kyle Shanahan seems to do a pretty good job. I'm going to take the Niners guy, and they're going to be disappointed, and I'm going to have the last laugh because I got the Niners guy. Well, good for you, Trent. Good for you. You have no idea what you're getting. You're getting the ping pong champ. You're getting a guy who could care less about improving, about whether he plays, whether he's 2nd string, whether he's 3rd string. The least inspiring, least competitive quarterback I've ever come across in an NFL locker room. So good for you. Hey, forget the Jaguars. Niners, good for you for letting them go. I mean, this is a big step. I half expected the Niners to re-sign this stiff because they can't admit a mistake, but they didn't have to cut him. They just let him sort of quietly leave. I'm surprised they didn't throw him a parade. Give him a press release. CJ Beathard, the Beathard era is over. What a player. What a gunslinger. What moxie. What toughness. Nah, that was a mistake. I'm glad we never have to watch him play again. So many practices, so many preseason games where I had to watch this dude drop back and throw sidearm because, mechanics, who cares? Attention to detail, not his thing. Who cares? That was his whole attitude. He made Jimmy Garoppolo seem like Peyton Manning in terms of their drive. So, yeah, CJ, have a good one. All right, let's get back to the other stuff. So, not a good signing for Jacksonville, but hold on. Did someone leave a thing? Hold on. Yeah, Pat. I think you got something right. All along you said Rosen, did you not? Rosen all the way. Hey, yeah, good for the 49ers to actually sign Rosen and not Beathard. That's amazing. I think that's growth for the 49ers. You remember how much Kyle Shanahan loved CJ Beathard like 2 years ago? That's growth. Good for him. Okay, so the Niners have had a good free agency. A lot of people feel this team is as good, if not better than the one in 2019. Trent Williams is an upgrade. Alex Mack is an upgrade. Deebo Samuel's older. Brandon Ayuk is good. I mean, Buckner's not here anymore. But other than that, it's a really, here. But does anyone, come on. I know Niner fans are excited and optimistic, but my attitude, here's my attitude watching the Niners free agency. I was like, oh, wow, you brought back more players than I expected. All these guys coming back. Nice. I really didn't think you could do that. Third place in the NFC West. Nice. You accomplished everything you wanted to accomplish. Best case scenario, you finished third in the NFC West. I just don't, best case scenario, they're a wild card team and they lose in the first or second round on the road. I hate to be negative, but isn't that kind of the attitude here? It's like, you might even feel like this team is stacked. This roster is stacked the way it was in 2019. But does anyone really take them seriously? Is anyone calling them a Super Bowl contender? I think no. And I think there's a couple of reasons. And one of them is the injury issue. Like, we felt the Niners team was stacked last year. I predicted they would go 12-4. A lot of people thought they would win the NFC West. I said Tampa would. And Niner fans yelled at me, like, how could you say that? Tampa's proved nothing. The Niners are established. The Niners have pedigree. And then, the season fell apart instantly. And a lot of us felt like the Niners needed to, maybe go back to the drawing board and change some things, tweak their formula. But the Niners don't feel that. The Niners feel like, no, we got the formula. We're going to run it back and prove that the only reason we were 6-10 last year is the injuries. Fine. In the postseason press conference, I asked Kyle and John Lynch, hey guys, what is the plan to address the injury issue? I understand there's a lot of reasons for it, but what do you guys plan to do to find the source of the problem? Because that's the question hanging over the team. Yeah, you have injury issues. How can you fix them? Because to say that it's just a fluke, how could it be a fluke when they're an issue every year? They were an issue in 2019. A lot of players got hurt. They just came back. Jimmy didn't get hurt. They were a huge issue in 2018. They were a huge issue in 2016. They're an issue every year. Why? So they haven't said the conclusions to their test or whatever they did to find out the answer. But what I'm looking at is I don't think they really addressed the injury issue. They brought back the whole team. A lot of these guys got hurt last year. A lot of these guys are older. And they all came back. So to me, the attitude is, you know what? It was a fluke. There's no way that all these guys are going to get hurt again. It's a statistical improbability. So actually bringing back all these same players is a good idea because there's no way lightning can strike twice, right? I think that's what they did. Basically, their solution for the injury issue is let's cross our fingers. Let's take a step back and look at this from a statistical probability perspective and say that, it can't happen. That was somehow a perfect storm last year, and it doesn't happen twice in a row. Okay, well, we'll see. To me, the best solution to this problem isn't just hoping. Hey, I just got a feeling it's not going to happen 2 years in a row. And if it does happen, it's a great excuse. Everyone in the Bay Area buys it. We say, oh, man, this team would have been great, but there were injuries. And everyone eats it up. Hey, you're right. It's really good. It's a really good team. They had injuries. Again, next year, maybe they won't have so many injuries. I don't like it. I was hoping the Niners would actually do something to address this, like younger players who have no history of missing a ton of games. But no, they just brought back the whole team. And the attitude is basically what they've been saying the whole time. Those were flukes. We're going to be back next year and we're going to be healthy. Okay, well, you better be. Because if you have all the injuries again, I'm not going to be the one hammering the Niners. It's going to be the fans. Fans are optimistic now. They're optimistic in March. When the plan falls apart in September or October, they're not optimistic. They're not forgiving. They're worse than me. So we'll see if it works out. I just feel like the plan was no plan. Let's tempt fate and see if this won't happen again. So we'll see. There's another thing that I'm going to get to in a second. Jade says, are the Niners not signing their backup quarterback because they want Mullins back but want to see how his elbow recovers in coming weeks? From what I see, Shanahan likes Mullins more than Beathard and maybe as much as Cousins. I also think that Kyle Shanahan loves Mullins. I love Mullins. The problem with Mullins is I wonder how the team feels about him. I mean, you saw Jordan Reed was constantly showing up Nick Mullins on the field. I mean, constantly. He would throw his helmet. He would jump up and down. And the attitude was, man, this scrub quarterback is making me look bad. No, now you're out of the league, Jordan. But I feel like that attitude kind of pervaded around the team after a while. I feel like when Trent Williams had that really bad game against Philly, his attitude was, hey, man, that quarterback stinks. What do you want me to do? I don't even know where he is half the time. I feel like it's possible a lot of the players on the team felt that they would have been a playoff team last year had they had a backup who was better than Mullins, had they had a Jalen Hurts or something like that. I don't know about that. But I do think Kyle likes him. I like him. And it's just, how do you bring him back? How do you sell it to the team and the fan base? Not right now. Matt Mayoka wrote an article about it a couple of days ago. He said he's improving. He's doing really well in his recovery. I'm talking about Mullins, and the Niners the door is still open to re-sign him. So it seems to me that if Mullins is a free agent when training camp starts, they'll probably bring him in. It'd be very interesting because now you got Jimmy, Mullins, Josh Rosen, and Josh Johnson. That's 4 guys. Are they going to draft a quarterback? I don't know. If they're really in this win now mode and they think they're going to win the Super Bowl this year like they thought they were going to win last year, maybe they don't draft a quarterback this year. Are we sure they're going to draft a quarterback this year? I don't know. Mullins might be coming back. That's a really good question, Jade. Don't rule it out because remember, Kyle loves him. And Kyle is the most important person in this organization. And they don't have to re-sign him for the next 4 months. They can let that play out, let Nick Mullins recover, and then bring him back in when he's healthy. I wouldn't rule it out. He knows the system. He knows Kyle. Kyle knows him. And Kyle is very much into working with people he knows and likes. Alex Mack. You don't see a lot of examples of Kyle bringing in players he doesn't know. He has no relationship with. I mean, I don't know what his relationship is like with Samson Ebukam, but he's been in the division. He's faced him like 8 times. Something to think about. Is there any other comments that I missed? I'm just trying to see because I hate when you people be donating and I miss them. James, weren't the Niners one of the most injured teams in 2019 as well? That would be 3 years in a row. They were. It's just people don't remember it because Jimmy stayed healthy and the guys who got hurt all came back. Cohn came back. D Ford came back. Joe Staley came back. Juszczyk came back. Kittle came back. McGlinchey came back. It was very impressive. But this is an issue every single year. Maybe it's not bad luck. Maybe it's just the fact that they have injury-prone players, and maybe they should have less of them. Every team has injury-prone players. It's football. But the Niners have like a ton of them, and wow, someone just donated $50. Thank you so much, Hunter. I really appreciate it. You mentioned that Shanahan wants tough guys at quarterback. I think once he realized Jimmy wasn't tough, that's when he lost interest. Agree. If Kyle likes tough guys like Mullins and CJ, maybe we need to look at who the toughest guys in the draft are. Yeah, I would say that's true. Kyle doesn't change his opinion like I do. I change my opinion every day. I just changed it again right now. Kyle has had the same opinion since 1997. It's just the way he is. Yeah, he wants a tough quarterback. Who are the tough quarterbacks in the draft? Is Zach Wilson tough? I don't know. He never had to prove it at BYU. No one ever touched him. Is Trevor Lawrence tough? Yes. The Niners aren't going to get him. Is Mac Jones tough? I don't know. He never really had to prove it at Alabama. I mean, he was clean. He was kept clean most of the time. Is Justin Fields tough? Yes. Is Trey Lance tough? Yes. Yes. Is Kellen Mond tough? Yes. Hell yes. Is Kyle Trask tough? Hell yes. Those are the only quarterbacks I really care about. So, yeah, I think when we're looking at these quarterbacks, you're looking at guys who are tough, who stick to the script of the play, who don't go off script right away. Another reason I think Kellen Mond is a guy that Kyle Shanahan would really like. He's tough. Watch his tape. He gets obliterated weekly. Obliterated. No problem. Always back up. Doesn't miss games. Doesn't get sacked a lot. Just takes a lot of hits. So, Hunter, I'm trying to give you a really good answer. Yes. Abso-freaking-lutely. Did you mean to give me $5 and give me $50 instead? Because this is extremely generous. There's no way I could possibly give a $50 answer to a question. But yes, I think we need to focus on the toughness of these guys. And I think like a guy with Mac Jones, it's not that I'm saying he's not tough. I'm saying it's hard to tell because look what he's playing in. And I feel like that was the same thing with Jared Goff at Cal. I don't think you could see that he wasn't tough, that he was soft at Cal. But if you go back and look, there was no one around him. He was kept clean. And so there was a question, well, how's he going to be in the NFL when the pocket's collapsing, which is 50% of the time? How's he going to be with bodies around him, which is the NFL? Well, not good. Not good. And that's why he wasn't worth the first-round pick, really. Good thrower, not good with bodies around him. Is that going to be Zach Jones? Is that going to Zach Wilson? Is that going to be Mac Jones? I don't know. But it's what Kyle's looking for. So you look for those guys who are willing to take the crushing hit and aren't trying to break out of the pocket right away. Good stuff, Hunter. A couple more questions, and then I'll move back on to the big stuff that I have planned for the show. Prince KO says the plan is to fill all the positions so they can get away with drafting a first-round quarterback. Lance makes sense to provide something different from Jimmy. It just seems to me that if the Niners are signing all these veterans, all these 30-year-old players to one-year deals, how are they going to not take an instant contributor in round one? You do all these win-now moves to take a quarterback in round one, someone who won't play next year? I mean, maybe they will if they think that Jimmy's going to be a backup, but that's a really expensive backup. I don't know. It feels like the Niners' attitude is, we don't need a quarterback. We're going to win the Super Bowl next year, even with Jimmy. Who cares? I don't know. That's how I read it, but I'm always wrong. Real quick. Pat says, Trask. Yeah. You know I love him. No one else likes Kyle Trask except for me and a couple other people who've been on the show. So I'm trying to take credit for that one, although I can't really. James Foster said, have you soured on Trask? I feel like he makes a lot of sense as a day two pick with Jimmy. No, I haven't soured on Trask. I love Trask. If he's the pick in round two, I love that. I just have a feeling some team in the NFL loves him too. And the fact that he's got no media hype really doesn't matter. And I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up late round one going to Pittsburgh or New Orleans. I think those are two franchises that would appreciate what Kyle Trask brings to the table. New Orleans or Pittsburgh end of round one. That's what I'm thinking. The coach says, oh, hold on, Hunter. I'm trying to find you. The $50 isn't just for the question. It's because I like your content and you work hard. Thanks. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That's $55 from you, man. Man, I got to send you a fruit basket or something, man. That was really nice. Thank you. I appreciate it. Hold on. There was one more here. The coach. Here's $5 to admit you were completely wrong about the Niners not being able to sign their own free agents. Own it. Quality control my butt. You're right. I was completely wrong. The Niners were way better and more efficient in free agency than I thought they were. You're right. I own it. Thanks for the $5, though. It's always easier to own it when you pay someone to. Yes. Okay, so the Niners really did a good job in free agency. They exceeded expectations, probably our expectations, definitely our expectations, probably their own. But people don't consider them Super Bowl contenders. No one's as enthusiastic about the Niners now as they were even last year. Remember, last year, everyone thought they'd win 12 games minimum. Everyone. So why are people a little bit more tepid? Well, the injury issue. The Niners haven't really done anything to address it. And then there's one more thing. It's called the Jimmy issue. Jimmy Garoppolo is still on the team. And so no matter what the Niners do, no matter who they bring back, who they add, it all comes back to Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay, yeah, great. Alex Mack, nice addition. Trent Williams, hell of a player. Samson Ebukam, got upside. Who's your quarterback, though? Jimmy? Oh, well, third, you're going to finish third in the NFC West and lose in the first round. If he makes it through the whole season, if there were a bet in Vegas, will Jimmy Garoppolo play 16 games? The odds would be against it. You can make some good money betting on, yes, he will play 16 games. And if he did it, you would probably get crazy odds. So no, why would you expect that? The Jimmy issue is a problem. The Niners can do whatever they want to their roster. Everyone's going to look at it and be like, yeah, but you have the worst quarterback in your division. Yeah, but you have a quarterback who can't stay healthy. You have a quarterback who's only played more than 6 games in a season once. You have a quarterback who cannot move. You have a quarterback who can't throw outside the numbers or doesn't want to. You have a quarterback who can't throw deep or doesn't want to. You have a quarterback who can't protect himself anymore. You have a quarterback who freaks out the first time someone even gets near his surgically repaired knee in a game. You have a quarterback who didn't fight to get back on the field the final couple of games of the season when he was practicing and looking pretty good in practice. When Jimmy Ward came back from a concussion and George Kittle came back from a broken foot, Jimmy Garoppolo, the $89 million man who still has only started 30 games for the Niners, was up in the press box, luxury box, taking notes like a novice, like a 22-year-old, like he's still Tom Brady's backup. Nah, that's the issue. No one really has any confidence in Jimmy Garoppolo anymore. And sure, you could say the Niners have confidence in him, and that's why these guys came back. But where are the other players? Where are the guys from other teams who are just dying to play with Jimmy Garoppolo the way that Richard Sherman was 3 years ago? Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't have that kind of draw. And until the 49ers address this, it feels like they're just spinning their wheels. Okay, you made Trent Williams the highest paid offensive lineman of all time. Okay, well, you're still going to lose in the first round of the playoffs. Oh, you upgraded from Kerry Hyder? Oh, you found a big upgrade at center? Great. You're still going to lose like 7 or 8 games next year because of your quarterback, because it's a quarterback-driven league. He can't stay healthy, and the book is out on him. Pack the middle of the field. Dare him to throw deep. Dare him to throw outside the numbers. Dare him to run. Dare him to scramble. Man-to-man coverage. Take away all the in-breaking routes, the slants, the digs, the posts, all that stuff. Force him to throw outside. Force him to throw down the field, or force him to run. He won't. He'll just stand there and wait and do a little pirouette and get hurt. That's Jimmy. So unless the Niners have a plan, whether they know that Deshaun Watson's going to be exonerated and his name will be cleared and they'll go get him, well, now the whole thing makes sense. Other than that, what do the Niners do to improve at quarterback? They get a rookie? They bring in a rookie? On the one hand, a rookie quarterback has never won a Super Bowl, so that's a tough sell. On the other hand, there's probably like 4 rookies who are better than Jimmy Garoppolo right now. So the Niners are in a tough spot. Maybe the plan is to bring in a rookie and have him compete with Jimmy and then get rid of Jimmy. I don't know. I don't think that's the plan. I think the plan is to really believe in Jimmy and hope that he can do what he did in 2019. What I say to that is good luck. It's not going to happen. But what do I know? The Jimmy issue is why I'm not that bullish on the 2021 49ers. You might say they have a great team. I don't know. I still feel like it's older and injury prone. But even if it is, even if they don't have injuries this year, even if everything works out great for the Niners, and even if Jimmy Garoppolo plays for 16 games, it's still Jimmy. Still a guy who can't move, throw deep, or outside the numbers. Nah. Also, he can't protect the football. That's the other thing. He is a turnover machine. So, nah. I think the Niners need to start over at quarterback, and they keep delaying the process. I think you guys would have to agree with me on this one. Till they find a solution here at quarterback, there's still a team that, they might have a winning record. They might win one playoff game, but really, what is the upside? Who cares how far they make it if they don't make it all the way? You're keeping Jimmy Garoppolo and delaying the future because you think he can take you to the Super Bowl. Well, he can't. It's over. It's over. Robin says, I expect them to trade Warner and some picks for Watson. What do you think? Well, Watson's going to have to get exonerated. No one's trading for Watson while this hangs over his head. There's going to need to be some clarity there. So far, there ain't none. Pat Bewley says, I seen Jimmy hang tough against rushers 2019. All right. Well, we'll see what he does this year. We shall see. Hold on. I just want to make sure I get all these. Oh, yeah. I'm going to talk. Hold on. I'm going to talk Minshew now. Hold on. These comments coming so fast. I'm going to talk Minshew now. I promise. Promise. Who would honestly take this team further next year, Alex Smith or Jimmy, and who would play more games? It's about the same. I would say Alex, because with Alex, he'd be less than half the price. So his team would be better because you could sign other players. They're both injury prone. Alex Smith was 5-1 last year. Jimmy Garoppolo was 3-3. Was Alex Smith on a better team than Jimmy? I don't think so. So I would just go with Alex. But I don't know that Alex wants to come back to the Niners. That's the rub here. He's had some very critical things to say of ownership. Things that Alex Smith never says. So it's possible Alex was like, you know what? No. Anyone but there. Ain't It Maine says Jalen Hurts numbers if he plays 13 games next year. Dude, let's see him play one game first. I'm not going to go into that level of hypotheticals. I've never seen him play an actual game. He needs to show that he can make it through a week of practice without getting hurt, because that's the next step for him, the next hurdle to clear. Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong. The Niners are reported to be interested in Gardner Minshew. Is that correct? Is that correct? Just let me know. Has anything changed in the last half hour since I've been doing this show? 45 minutes. I'll start talking about it if you guys give me the okay. Okay. So the 49ers reportedly are interested in Gardner Minshew. Or the way Jeremy Fowler put it is kind of connecting the dots. It would make sense. They were interested in Joe Flacco. They were interested in Sam Darnold. It seems clear that they're trying to improve their backup quarterback spot. Gardner Minshew's hanging around. They don't want him down there. They're going to draft Trevor Lawrence. They just signed CJ Beathard. And now the Niners are reportedly going to trade for Gardner Minshew. Real quick. Don't freaking do that. Why would you do that? The Jaguars, who've seen him up close, I mean, they know what Gardner Minshew is, would rather have CJ Beathard than Minshew. And you know what? They might be right. Because, CJ Beathard, he's not the most serious football player. He's more of a ping pong player who plays football in his spare time. But Gardner Minshew is a caricature of the Tiger King. He is in the league because of his mustache and the way he dresses. People think he's funny. He's marketable. He's a goof. He's not good. Last year, dude lost every game he started except for one. Every game he started except for one. He missed 4 games with a freaking, what? I don't know, something. What did he do? I forget. Dude was hurt. How does he help you? That's just another guy like Darnold who's not good. Don't trade assets for freaking Gardner Minshew, who the Jaguars don't want. That would be like trading for D Ford. The incumbent team is telling you what they think of that dude. They don't want him. There is something wrong with that dude, and you're going to be like, no, we know better about Gardner Minshew because we've seen him from afar. And we're going to trade our 3rd or 4th or 5th round pick so we can bring in Gardner Minshew and be really freaking disappointed. Oh my God, the Jaguars were right. You're going to take the dude that is worse than CJ Beathard. Don't do it, man. Gardner Minshew? Don't do it. He's just a guy who pads his stats in garbage time and loses all the time. He's like the next JT O'Sullivan. Remember, he's one of these guys who played in the the air raid college system. He played up at Washington State. He did it. Jared Goff did it. Every single quarterback to ever do that system in college has been a flop in the NFL except for Patrick Mahomes. Every single one except for Mahomes. And Mahomes is a hell of an athlete. Is Gardner Minshew a hell of an athlete? Survey says no. So don't waste your time with Gardner Minshew, for crying out loud. The Jaguars want to give him away. The Jaguars looked at him and looked at CJ Beathard and we were like, oh man, CJ's an upgrade. We like CJ better. That's all you need to know. All you need to know, if the Niners trade for Gardner Minshew, we all really got to question what's happening over there, man. Just stick with Josh Rosen. They keep saying they need to bring in a backup they can win with. The dude was 1-7 last year, Gardner Minshew. He can't win. Joe Flacco was 0-4 last year. Sam Darnold freaking stinks. Just, if those are the options, just bring back Nick Mullins, Josh Rosen, and draft the guy. There's no reason. Is Gardner Minshew really an upgrade over Nick Mullins? I say no. Is Gardner Minshew really an upgrade over Josh Rosen? I say no. Don't do it. But again, I feel like the Niners are kind of run these things out there as trial balloons, especially if if freaking Jeremy Fowler reports it. I mean, let him report it. See how people respond. When the Niner fans say no, absolutely not, they're like, okay, we didn't like him anyway. That was all Jeremy Fowler. I don't know what he's talking about. Sorry, Jerry. So Yeah, no on Gardner Minshew, for God's sakes. Come on. Gardner. How do you get a name Gardner? Maybe I'm going to change my name to Gardner. It's a strong G name, actually. All right, let me answer some questions, and then I'll move on. Did I not express myself strongly enough on Gardner Minshew? Like, hell no. Good stuff, Grant. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you. I'm trying. Gardner Minshew. You have a River and a Gardner on the same team? I mean, that's just a recipe for... I mean, maybe the River would irrigate the Gardner. I mean, maybe they would rip it. Maybe. And they played together. They played together in college? Gardner and River? I don't know. Now that you put it that way, maybe there's some synergy there. They probably did play together in college. Now that you point it out. I'm talking to myself. Reeves Remo says, with all the one-year signings at cornerback, would you be okay with Horn at the 12th pick? Go Niners. Yeah. Yes. I like Horn better than Surtain. I see that Surtain is 6'2", 208, and ran a 4.42. Coach Noah Johnson and I last week did a video breakdown of him, and I just don't see the quick twitch. He's big. He can run fast, but I don't see acceleration. I don't see quick bursts. Gives up a lot of separation. He doesn't cover in-breaking routes. I'm curious about him. I like Horn better, but I'm not a scout. Okay, hold on. Jade says Mullins is better than Minshew, even with a bum elbow. Yeah, I agree, Jade. Come on. Minshew. Thoughts on Jacoby Brissett? Is he available? Waste of time and money. Just draft a quarterback. Come on. Just draft a quarterback. Waste of time and money. Just another guy who has hype because he was on the same team as Tom Brady. Kind of like Jimmy. If we're being honest. Kyle coached him at the Senior Bowl. No? Who? Minshew? Oh, God. Oh, I hope not. Ugh. Don't want that to happen. Okay. Okay. Brissett's gone? Good. Okay. So what are the options? We agree that this team is ready to go. It's definitely in win now mode. A lot of these players they brought back won't be on this team next year. They need to make their best effort, their best run now. And Jimmy ain't part of that equation. We can agree on that. Come on. So is Matt Ryan an option? I mean, not now, but let's say the Falcons draft a quarterback, Trey Lance at number 4. And then after June 1, they're like, you know what? We want to just move forward with Trey Lance. We got a first-year head coach. Lance needs reps. He didn't get him in college. We're not expecting to win the next few years because we're rebuilding. Matt, goodbye. Thank you for everything. We're going to trade you after June 1, save some cap space, and let you go play somewhere else on a good team. Well, the Niners would be interested, right? It's one of the guys Kyle Shanahan knows. He likes players he knows. Also, they just signed Alex Mack. He knows Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan, if he was forced out of Atlanta, might want to come to the 49ers. And boy, would he be a massive upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo. If the Niners were to get Matt Ryan, then they would be Super Bowl contenders. I don't know if they'd win it because there's still that team in Tampa with Tom Brady. Now, the Niners could have had Tom Brady, but they didn't want Tom Brady. So Tampa got him, and now they're the best team in the league. The Niners have to go through them, but Matt Ryan would at least give them someone who's, good. Good. That's the word. Good. So will they do that? I don't know. I just feel like the 49ers are just going to trade for Gardner Minshew and keep Jimmy Garoppolo. And then when things fall apart, they'll say, man, how could we predict that things wouldn't work out with Gardner Minshew and Jimmy Garoppolo? I mean, we did what you wanted us to do. We improved the backup quarterback spot. We did everything we could do. And oh my God, Jimmy got, oh my God. I mean, Matt Ryan would be a big cut, big swing for the fences, but I just think that they like to bunt. What they do is they get in the batter's box. They tell the umpire, hold on, I'm digging in. Give me 5 seconds. I'm digging in. I'm getting in the batter's box. They spit on home plate and they point to center field and, they're getting ready. And then the pitcher throws the ball, boom, drag bunt down the third baseline. And then they beat it out and Parag Marath and everyone gets cheered as being genius. No one saw it coming. Oh my God. Bunting for singles. That's what the Niners do. That's called the brick by brick mentality. So I don't really expect the Niners to go after Matt Ryan, but I'm just trying to think what is the plan here? If it was Watson, that may not be an option. Jimmy can't be plan A. Can't be. So is it Ryan? I don't know. Maybe it's Minshew. Ugh. Love that video you made exposing Jimmy fanboys. Those okay. Well, that was a little rude, but appreciate the donation. Hold on. I definitely can't confirm that one. I should probably read the comments before I put them on my screen. Otherwise, I'm going to get sued. Okay. So yeah, reading the comment first. Now I have to screen you guys. Do you think the Niners may pull the trigger on a trade for Mariota down the road? He's a free agent right now. So if they want him, they can get him right now. But instead, they want to trade for Gardner Minshew. I don't know, man. These things don't make sense anymore. Okay. Final topic, and then we'll go. So if Matt Ryan doesn't happen, is a rookie quarterback an option for this team? Is that the plan? I mean, it seems like the idea would be no. Like, you want to have a veteran. You want to actually be able to say they're in the running for the Super Bowl now. And if you turn the team over to a rookie right away, then you can't even have that expectation. But what if the Niners draft a quarterback in round 1 or round 2 or even round 3? Some guy that isn't expected to be the starting quarterback necessarily ever, but is expected to be a backup with potential to develop into a quarterback. Well, odds are, if Jimmy Garoppolo is a starter, he'll either get injured or benched or both early on in the season. Because other than 2019, that's what he does. If that's the case, then boom, the rookie quarterback starting. And I really feel like there's a few rookie quarterbacks in this draft who really could do better than Jimmy Garoppolo next year, even though they're rookies. I mean, look at how good Jimmy did his first 5 games when he didn't even know the system. Maybe knowing the system's overrated. Jimmy can't throw downfield or move. A guy who could do those things would be an improvement. Jimmy can't protect the football. Twice a game, he just gives it to the other team, and if they hold on to it, that's on them. Maybe they could get a guy who's actually better and more experienced and more seasoned than Jimmy. Because Jimmy, for a 29-year-old who's going on 30, still started only like 30 games since college. He's not particularly experienced. He does things in games. It's like, what was that? That was a JV move, bro. It's a JV decision. So, I mean, maybe plan B isn't a rookie, but here's the thing. Maybe plan A isn't draft a rookie and have him start. But if plan A is keep Jimmy, draft a rookie and let him develop behind Jimmy, what's going to happen is the rookie's going to start. Because he'll either be better than Jimmy in training camp or he'll have to play by week 8 because Jimmy's Jimmy. So I just don't see the plan A being Jimmy because it's not a plan. He's not durable enough to go with that. If the idea is to develop a rookie, no, he's starting. Nope, he's playing. So maybe that's what they want to do. But I just feel like, man, if that's the plan, bring in a rookie and let him take Jimmy's job by week 8. What do you just sign Alex Smith, man? You don't need to pay Jimmy Garoppolo $27 million to get his job taken by week 8. If that's what you expect to happen, I'm flabbergasted. What is the plan? I don't get it. I don't know. This is my face when I'm confused. That's just my face. That's just my face. So I don't know. Is a rookie quarterback an option? Yeah. I think Kellen Mond is a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo right now. I think Kyle Trask is a better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo right now. I think Mac Jones, better quarterback than Jimmy Garoppolo right now. The Niners want to get any of those 3, Mond, Trask, or Jones? Man, why not start them? It's not like Jimmy's taking you anywhere. That's my theme of this show. Stop pretending that Jimmy's taking you anywhere. And stop pretending that Gardner Minshew is the backup that puts this team over the top. That's a joke. Get a new starting quarterback. He should be 22, 23 years old. Get rid of Jimmy. Stop being cowards. Move on. Why not both? Ryan Mentor. Yeah, if they can get Ryan, I like that. But just get a guy who's the future for the, don't be afraid. Oh, man. All right. Well, that's my show, I think. Oh, wait. Hold on. Man. Hold on. P, where you at? Sorry about the tasteless joke. No, it was cool. It's a good joke. I'm sorry. Good joke. I appreciate you. Thanks again, Pat. All right, guys, I'm done for now. I will be back this evening with Jesse Naylor, 49ers After Dark. And of course, if the Niners make any more moves, I will be back during the afternoon. But thank you for watching and listening to my pessimistic rants. I appreciate that. Most fan bases wouldn't listen to someone like me. So thank you. I'll be back later, and I'll, be on Twitter and stuff in the meantime. So I'll see you then.